I've found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take chances. You will fail. You will suck at something, no doubt about it. But if you don't fail, you're not even trying. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. So don't be afraid to fall. Don't be afraid to lose. Because sometimes failure is the only path that leads to growth. Dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. But when you fail, fail big, because failure is not the enemy, fear is. Failure is not the end, it's the beginning. That's a truth not everyone is ready to hear, but it's one that defines every great success story, including mine. See, most people have it twisted. They think failure means you're not good enough, that it's a sign to stop, to quit, to retreat. But in reality, failure is not a dead end. It's a detour. It's a test. It's the fire that burns away the things that don't matter and reveals the foundation of who you really are. I didn't land every role I auditioned for. I didn't walk in Hollywood and have people throw scripts at me. No, I heard no more times than I could count. I walked out of rooms where I was told I wasn't right, I didn't fit, I wasn't enough. But I didn't let those moments define me. I let them refine me. When you fall, you have two choices: stay down or fall forward. That means learning from it, growing from it, using it. You fall so you can get back up stronger, smarter, sharper. Every failure is really a step forward, but only if you keep moving. And it's not just about how you fall. It's about how you look at the fall. Because failure is a matter of perspective. One person sees it as defeat. Another sees it as direction, the different set. The heart, the will to keep pushing when everything says stop. The truth is, failure teaches you what success never can. Success can be comfortable. It can make you soft. It can lull you into thinking you've made it. But failure wakes you up. It humbles you. It reminds you that growth is always on the other side of pain. When I look back at my own journey, it wasn't the smooth moments that shaped me. It was the struggle, the rejection, the doubts. That's where my character was formed. That's where I learned discipline, resilience, and purpose. You can't talk about success without talking about sacrifice. And part of that sacrifice is accepting that failure is part of the process. You won't always win. You won't always be applauded. But if you stay committed, stay consistent, and stay true to the vision God placed in your heart, then you'll understand that every no is setting you up for the right less. Some of the roles I didn't get, I wasn't meant to get. Some of the doors that closed on me, they were protection. I learned to trust that. To see failure not as rejection, but as redirection. The people who make it, they're not always the most talented. They're not always the smartest, but they are always the ones who refuse to quit. The ones who fall and keep falling, but never fall back. They fall forward. They keep trying, keep risking, keep believing. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because what's on the other side of that failure is everything you've been working for. But only if you push through. You've got to take risks. You've got to be willing to go out there and mess up, to embarrass yourself, to get it wrong. That's the only way you'll ever get it right. Fear of failure is the real enemy because it keeps you stuck. It keeps you average. It keeps you safe, and there's no greatness in safety. There's only regret. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather fail trying than wonder what could have been if I had just taken that step, just made that move, just believed in myself enough to leap. So don't fear failure, respect it, learn from it, use it. Because failure is not final unless you let it be. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. If you keep your faith strong and your hustle stronger, you may not see the reward right away, but trust me, it's there. It's waiting for you on the other side of the test. Just keep going. Fall, rise, repeat. Fall forward. That's how you turn failure into fuel. That's how you turn your story into history. Rejection is direction. It doesn't always feel that way in the moment. Most of the time, it feels personal. It stings. It's disappointing. But what we often mistake for failure or denial is actually life guiding us. Rejection isn't there to destroy you. It's there to redirect you. And how you respond to it determines whether you stay stuck in place or move toward your purpose. When you hear no, you have two choices. You can shrink, question yourself, let it weaken your belief, or you can step back, look at the bigger picture and ask, what is this trying to teach me? Because every rejection contains a message, a lesson, a whisper from life telling you, this is not your path, but there is one, and most people miss that whisper. They stop too soon. They treat rejection like a wall instead of a signpost. But a wall just means you might be facing the wrong direction. A signpost tells you which way to go. Rejection is that sign. Think about it, DenzelWashington didn't get every role he auditioned for. In fact, he shared how, early in his career, he bombed auditions. He was told no. Not once, not twice, but over and over. He could have quit. He could have believed the rejection. But he chose to believe in something deeper. He chose to believe that rejection wasn't proof of his inadequacy. It was evidence that his journey wasn't meant to be average, that the roles he was meant to play would come if he stayed ready. And that's the key. You don't let rejection close the book. You turn the page, because what's waiting for you might be bigger than what you were reaching for. Sometimes we're so set on our plan that we get angry when it doesn't work. But rejection means something better might be on the way, something you're not ready for yet, or something you wouldn't have seen unless that door closed. Some doors must before you're forced to look for a better one. Think about the blessings you didn't see coming. Think about the opportunities that only opened because another one shut. If you're honest with yourself, you'll realize that some of the greatest moments in your life came after a setback, after a no, after someone walked away, after something failed. Rejection refined you. It sharpened your focus. It humbled you. It forced you to grow. But none of that happens if you sit in the rejection and let it define you. You have to move through it. And you do that by changing the way you see it. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this preparing me for? Because every great success story includes a chapter on rejection. And that chapter is never the end. It's the turning point. You weren't meant to fit into every space. You weren't built for every room. That's not failure. That's alignment. The people who reject you, the jobs that pass you by, the chances you didn't get, they weren't yours. And when you force something that's not meant for you, you rob yourself of the time, energy, and clarity you need for what is. So trust it. Trust that when something doesn't work out, it's not rejection, it's direction. It's life saying, not this way. And maybe not now, but not never. Stay faithful. Stay patient. Stay working. Because the opportunity that is meant for you won't reject you. It'll find you when you're prepared, not just when you're ready. Rejection isn't the end of your story. It's the plot twist. The moment that seems like a loss now will later reveal itself as the exact moment you were being aligned for something greater. But only if you keep going. Only if you trust the process more than your pride. Because pride wants everything now. But purpose waits. Purpose endures. Purpose understands that rejection today can build the strength you'll need tomorrow. So don't curse the doors that close. Celebrate the fact that you're one, no closer to the right less. Because in the end, rejection is not about what's taken from you. It's about what's being protected for you. What's being saved for the right time, the right space, the right you. Rejection is direction. And when you see it that way, you don't run from it. You follow where it leads. True success is never born in comfort. It is born in the fire of setbacks, forged in the heat of adversity, and shaped by the pressure that comes when everything seems to be falling apart. You see, people love to celebrate success. They love to clap when you win. But what they don't see, what they often ignore, is the grind that comes before the glory. The countless moments of failure, the days when nothing worked, and the nights when you questioned your worth. That's the part where success is really born. Not when you're standing on the stage, but when you're crawling through the mud with no light in sight, and you choose to keep going. Failure is a furnace. It burns away the weakness, the ego, the illusions. It brings you face to face with your own limitations. And that's the moment most people run. That's the moment they quit, pack up, walk away, and call it the end. But the few who understand, those rare souls who see failure not as a wall, but as a mirror, they stay. They endure the heat. They embrace the pain. Because deep down, they know the fire is not there to destroy them. It's there to build them. Think about it. The greatest athletes, the most iconic actors, the innovators and leaders of our time, they didn't rise because everything went smoothly. They rose because they fell again and again and still got up. Michael Jordan didn't become a legend because he always won. He became a legend because he lost, missed, got cut, and still played like his life depended on it. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. DenzelWashington himself. He was turned down time after time early in his career. But he didn't stop. Because deep inside, he understood the principle success is born in struggle. It's born in those moments when giving up feels easier, but you push through anyway. People want shortcuts. They want the trophy without the training. They want applause without the effort. But the truth is, greatness can't be microwaved. It can't be rushed. It's a slow burn. And the failures along the way, they aren't distractions. They are the curriculum. Each setback is a teacher, and every failure is a test of your character. The question is not, will you fail? You will. We all do. The question is, what will you do with that failure? Will you let it define you, or will you let it refine you? Because failure has a choice. It can either break you or build you, and the outcome depends entirely on your mindset. The fire can burn you up, or it can mold you like steel. but you have to stay in it long enough to see the transformation. You have to be willing to walk through the uncomfortable, to sit in the silence, to feel the sting of rejection and the weight of doubt, and still not stop. You know what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's resilience. It's grit. It's the decision to see failure not as a signal to quit, but as a call to level up. Success is not reserved for the smartest, the fastest, or the luckiest. It's reserved for the ones who refuse to be defeated by defeat, the ones who see every no as another reason to keep going, the ones who look at the fire and say, "Let it burn. I'm not afraid." When you hit rock bottom, when doors close, when plans fall apart, that's the moment you decide who you are. Not when things are easy, not when the crowd is cheering, but when the room is quiet, when your heart is heavy, when all you've got left is your will to fight. That's when champions are made. That's where legacy is built. So if you're failing right now, good. That means you're in the right place. That means you're trying. That means you've stepped outside your comfort zone. Learn from it. Grow through it. Because success isn't found on the other side of failure. It's found. Let the fire shape you. Let it strengthen you. And when you rise from it, you won't just be successful, you'll be unstoppable. Every champion was once a contender who failed. That's not just a motivational line. It's a truth that echoes through the life of great man or woman who has ever achieved something meaningful. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a necessary part of the process. It's not an obstacle. It's a rite of passage. You don't become great without going through the grind, the embarrassment, the rejection, the moments when everything seems to fall apart. It's in those moments that character is forged. That's where champions are born. When people look at someone who has made it, they often only see the highlight reel, the awards, the speeches, the applause. But what they don't see is the struggle behind it. They don't see the nights filled with doubt, the days that felt like they would never end, the auditions where no one clapped, the games lost, the deals that slipped away, the ideas that failed to launch. Every successful person you admire has a story filled with failure. It's not that they avoided it. It's that they refused to let it stop them. They used failure as fuel. They kept showing up. Look at Michael Jordan, cut from his high school basketball team. Most kids would have let that define them, but not him. He didn't quit. He worked. He trained. He pushed through. Today, he's known as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But it started with failure. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job. They told her she was unfit for TV. Let that sink in. One of the most influential media figures in history was told she didn't belong in front of a camera. But she didn't let that break her spirit. She turned rejection into redirection. DenzelWashington himself auditioned for roles and didn't get them. He was told no. He was overlooked. But he didn't give up. He didn't say, maybe this isn't for me. He kept going. He sharpened his craft. And when the right moment came, he was ready. That's the key. Failure is not final unless you quit. If you keep showing up, if you keep learning, failure becomes your teacher, not your undertaker. The truth is, nobody starts at the top. Champions aren't born in comfort zones. They're built in dark places, in lonely gyms, in quiet studios, in moments when no one's watching. when there's no spotlight, when you have nothing but your belief in yourself. That's when champions rise. And what separates them from the rest is not talent or luck. It's resilience. It's grit. It's the ability to take a hit and get back up. Again and again, failure will test you. It'll ask you, how bad do you really want it? It'll strip away your ego. It'll humble you. But it will also prepare you. You'll discover strengths you never knew you had. You'll learn what you're made of. And when the opportunity finally arrives, you won't be guessing. You'll be ready. You'll walk into that moment with experience, with wisdom, with fire in your eyes, because you've already been through the fire. Success isn't about never falling. It's about falling forward. It's about using every failure as a step, not a stop. It's about rewriting the narrative. When others see failure as a sign to turn back, champions see it as a sign to go harder. They see it as confirmation that they're on the right path. Because the path to greatness is never easy. If it was, everyone would do it. So the next time you fail, remember this: you're not being punished. You're being prepared. That failure you're going through is shaping you. It's preparing you for the next level. It's molding you into someone who can handle what's coming. Every champion you know today once stood in your shoes, doubted, denied, dismissed. But they didn't give in. They pushed through. You have that same power inside you. Don't run from failure. Learn from it. Build from it. Use it. Because failure isn't the end of your story. It's just the beginning of your comeback. If you're afraid to fail, you're not ready to succeed. It's a hard truth, but it's one that separates those who only dream from those who actually do. Fear of failure is one of the biggest barriers to success, not because the failure itself is so bad, but because of what the fear does to you. It paralyzes you. It talks you out of taking the first step. It convinces you to stay comfortable, stay safe, stay silent. And that's the real danger. Success doesn't live in comfort. Success lives on the edge of uncertainty. It requires you to take the kind of risks that might embarrass you, break you, or humble you. That's the price. And if you're not willing to fail, then you're not willing to pay that price. People think success is a straight road, that you make a plan, work hard, and everything just lines up. But anyone who's truly succeeded will tell you the path is messy, unpredictable, and filled with setbacks. And that's the part people don't want to hear. They want the reward without the risk, the win without the wounds. But it doesn't work like that. When you fear failure, what you're really doing is avoiding the very process that makes you stronger. Because every time you fall, you learn. Every time you get rejected, you grow. Every time it doesn't go your way, you develop resilience. And resilience is what success is built on. Think about it. The greatest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the most iconic artists, they all failed over and over again. Not once, not thousands of times, but what separates them is they didn't let failure define them. They didn't see it as the end of the story. They saw it as part of the process. They were willing to look foolish, to lose, to stumble, because they understood that behind every no, there's a bigger yes waiting. Behind every closed door, there's another door that's meant for you. But you'll never find it if you quit after the first fall. The truth is, failure isn't personal. It doesn't mean you're not good enough. It doesn't mean you don't have what it takes. It just means you're human. And being human means you're in motion, you're trying, you're growing. Failure is feedback. It's life's way of showing you what needs to be improved, what you can do better next time. And if you embrace it instead of running from it, you start to see it differently. Start to welcome it because you know it's working for you, not against you. But most people don't get to that point. They quit too early. They never give themselves the chance to find out what they're made of. One rejection, one mistake, and they fold. Not because they didn't have the talent, but because they lacked the toughness. They weren't willing to look past the pain and see the purpose. And that's what fear of failure does. It robs you of experience. It steals your potential before it even gets a chance to breathe. You have to decide what's more important to you, staying comfortable or chasing your calling. You can't have both. You either play it safe and stay small, or you take the risk and grow. You either tiptoe through life avoiding failure, or you charge through life embracing it. And yes, you might fall. You probably will. But so what? Fall forward. Learn something. Get up and try again. That's how greatness is built. Not by avoiding failure, but by walking through it with your head high. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in the face of fear. It's saying, yes, I might fail, but I'm going anyway. That mindset will take you further than any perfect plan ever will. Because action beats fear every single time. And every time you face that fear and move forward anyway, it gets a little weaker. You get a little stronger. And before long, failure doesn't scare you anymore. It fuels you. So if you're afraid to fail, understand this. You're not running from failure. You're running from your own potential. You're running from everything you could become. But the moment you stop letting that fear control you, the moment you decide to bet on yourself, regardless of the risk, that's when everything starts to change. That's when you stop surviving and start thriving. And that's when you truly become unstoppable.